Good morning, Task Force Commander. I'm Intelligence Specialist Elizabeth Zacharias. Today I will be briefing you on the current situation on the ground as part of Operation New Frontier. The overall classification of this brief is unclassified. These are the objectives and the outline of this after-action brief, which will all be discussed in further detail throughout the presentation. Background on the area of operation. The region is the G5 Sahel, and the focus is primarily on Mali. Currently, the area is facing political instability and violence due to the weak government in the region. The threats from extremist groups are Al-Qaeda and ISIS affiliates in the region. The Chinese-backed regime is a large actor playing into the socio-economic disparity and other problems the region is currently facing. The mission of Operation New Frontier is to stabilize the area through special operations forces and covert action to regain security and a stable governance. Summary of all end activity, OCONUS, and CONUS, and its importance to the mission. OCONUS training local forces has occurred, and this has helped to combat insurgencies. CONUS, strategic intelligence support, and this has helped in planning. Human, local sources reveal threats. This has helped to tie Chinese to the Sahel region in ties with the extremist groups. SIGINT, intercepts confirm covert activities in the region between terrorist groups and the Chinese-backed regimens, and the mission impact is synergy to ensure stability and security in the region. Suggestions to higher command. The first suggestion would be to enhance intelligence sharing with local allies. This will strengthen real-time intelligence sharing and support mission execution. The second recommendation is to increase training for local forces on counterterrorism tactics. This would improve their capacity to confront growing terrorist threats independently. The third recommendation is to enhance the monitoring of Chinese influence in Mali. This will help in response to the growing concerns over Chinese involvement in Mali. The outcomes was partial adoption and tactical gain if and when they were enacted efficiently. The challenges with these were creating trust with local partners to perform these and logistical gaps that occurred and persisted with the collection and other measures. Utilize assets and tools. With SIGINT, it was effective in intercepting key signals, and we heavily relied upon it for monitoring communications. Limitations were with equipment and constraints with signal interference. With human, it provided critical insights into operations in the region, but source reliability was a growing issue and major shortcoming with this asset. With GN, it provided clear imagery and played a significant role in tracking the movement of military convoys and identifying potential terrorist hideouts or weapons depots. However, the shortcoming was delays in timeliness of the information, which impacted outcomes. With CA operations, these were essential in neutralizing high-value terrorist targets and disrupting extremist networks. These actions were impactful in terms of weakening leadership and destabilizing terrorist organizations like ACAM. However, the lack of full situational awareness in some operations led to operational inefficiencies in sometimes. Summary of CA and its results. In summary, the target was the extremist networks in the G5 Sahel region. These operations have focused on destabilizing key terrorist networks and targeting their leadership from the top down to disrupt their ability to plan and execute attacks. The methods used were precision strikes, human, and SIGINT. Successes were the disruption of these terrorist groups as we took out some of their top leaders. The impact was leadership lost and a number of reduced attacks coming from these groups. And the goal of all this was to enable regional security for forces to enter when the security vacuum arose, and then they could take back their control and set up governments in the region for their own people. Current conditions of the area of operations post-operations. The current state is still volatile and incremental stability with ups and downs. Local forces have improved, but logistical challenges still arrive. Threats from extremists and other external actors still present. Gaps in real-time intelligence prevail. However, the focus is to sustain momentum, to address the fragility, and ultimately eliminate, in the long run, these terrorist groups in the region to regain stability. Suggestions for incoming J2 and conjoined special operations forces. The first suggestion would be to create local partnerships to build trust and then ultimately share intelligence. The second recommendation would be to modernize intelligence by expanding on SIGINT and GINT tools. The third recommendation would be to train locals in things like counterterrorism and then logistics and command skills so they can better respond to attacks when they do occur. Fourth, we want to monitor China's involvement in the region and track their influence in Mali. And then finally, to sustain covert actions so they can adapt and refine their operations. Conclusion: the mission impact was to strengthen regional security and disrupt threats. Lesson learned from all this was integration, adaptability, and intelligence-driven actions, not only for the forces in the region, but our own U.S. forces. Looking forward, we want stability, partnerships, and long-term success for stability in the region. Our commitment is to support local forces and mitigate external threats even after we pull out of the region, and our goal is to secure a safer, more stable region for the individuals that live in the area. Pending any other questions, this concludes my brief. As a reminder, the overall classification of this brief is unclassified.